meanwhile penny pinching by the Chancellor. Welcome to the latest cross-border dispute. Yesterday, Alistair Darling announced that for 30 years, 95,000 former public sector workers have been overpaid on their pensions. The mistake saw the pensioners getting on average about £200 more than they should have, and has cost the Treasury £126 million. The Chancellor says these pensions must be corrected, but today the Scottish Government pledged to continue paying all the pensions it controls at the same rate. Former police, firefighters and local authority workers in Scotland will all keep their payments at the current level because the SNP government is in control of their pensions. They've decided to continue to overpay these pensioners, saying that it's unfair to remove the money that pensioners are counting on. The former teachers, NHS staff and armed services personnel are less fortunate. The UK government is in charge of their pensions and has decided that their payments should be cut down to the correct level. The Treasury has also refused to let Scottish ministers save former teachers and health workers in Scotland from the cuts. I'm joined from Westminster by Labour's Anne Maguire, a former pensions minister, and in Edinburgh by the SNP's Keith Brown, who convenes the Scottish Parliament's Pensions Bill Committee. Well, Anne Maguire, why is Labour against the Scottish Government continuing to pay these pensions?
Well, actually, it's the Scottish Government's decision what they do in this particular area for the pensioners that they have regulatory responsibility for. I think what we are seeing, though, is a faintly bizarre decision by the Scottish Government, which frankly is more about political point scoring than about any sense of fairness and equity. The Chancellor made it very clear there was going to be no clawback in terms of the overpayments. It's been a cumulative error over a great number of years, as you indicated in your introduction. And I just find it strange that the Scottish Government, or the Scottish Pension Agency has written to 129,000 public sector pensioners in Scotland to tell 123,000 of them that they're not really affected. I think this is about political point scoring and not about coming to an understanding about how to solve a tricky situation. And John Swinney is just been found wanting again, frankly.
Right. So you don't think he should cut it? You do think he should cut their pensions?
It's not about cutting. I mean, if anybody is overpaid in terms of pension, and indeed, Gordon, if the BBC were to overpay you in your salary, they would seek to rectify that error. We have accepted that there has been a cumulative error over 30 years for various reasons that are now being investigated. The sums in some cases are quite small. We are not going to take any of that money back, not at all, no way. But at the same time, we do think in the interest of fairness and equity, we've got to regulate the situation and rectify the situation so that by April 2009, the pensioners, public sector pensioners, get what they are entitled to. Well, and obviously it's a regrettable mistake. We accept that.
All right, Keith Brown, it's desirable to cut these back because after all, we are moving into a recession and people are going to see public money being paid really as a result of a mistake.
Yeah, it's funny how we don't hear so much nowadays from Labour MPs about a fiscal stimulus, and the bizarre thing, Anne Maguire mentioned the word bizarre, the bizarre thing is to hear a Labour MP talking about bungling billions of bankers but penny pinching from public service pensioners. These people, by and large, are extremely lowly paid people. I mean, the government's own briefing says this, that low, moderate pensioners, low, moderate pensions are being paid here. And that people on fixed incomes tend to budget many months ahead, and what they're going to face is a cut from the UK government through the UK government's own fault. And I'm very pleased that the Scottish government's going to protect as many pensioners from that as possible.
Well, yes, why not just continue to... I mean, the sums of money involved here, Anne Maguire, when you I mean, it's 126 million, but that's over 30 years. I mean, in the bigger picture, the sums of money just to continue overpaying this are trivial.
There is a principle here. I think
it's not a principle that will be seen by very many of the pensioners who are getting this money.
No, the principle is that people are entitled to get their pension that they paid for. And I think that Keith has to answer the question, what does he say to the 120